All right, perfect. So we left off on tact. All right, so tact is the ability to say or do the kindest or most appropriate things in a difficult situation. All right, and this one could be a very tough one. All right, because this is almost, kind of going against what your impulses or what what you want to do in that situation. All right, so tact is being able to be kind and do the right thing, even when you're in a tough situation. All right, so if the patient drops and spills their lunch all over the floor and you're just having the worst day and you're stressed out, right? Are you going to react and be upset with the patient, or are you going to say, it's okay, accidents happen, So, that's tact. Is kind of trying to hold your internal yuckiness inside and doing the right thing. So that one's pretty simple, okay? Competence. There's so much going on here. All right, competence. Competence, all right, is you're going to hear this one a ton, all right, from now until your senior year. So this is being qualified and capable of performing a task, right? And that's our job, right? It's our job as teachers to make sure that you guys are ready, all right? So I just noticed my slide has an error in it. So knowing that you guys are ready and capable and competent to perform the task and the skills that we're going to teach you. All right. Okay, so following instructions, right? And using approved procedures. So once we start getting into these skills, you guys, you're going to see that there are what we call a ton of indirect care skills, all right, that are basically kind of like steps that you need to follow prior to the actual skill and then following the actual skill. Okay, so we want to make sure that you're competent and that you can actually step by step go through those procedures. All right, and that's going to make sure that you are right on the money. And so when I told you guys about when we start practicing these skills, we're going to be in groups of 3. All right, so one person will be the patient, one person will act as the nurse, and then the other student will act as a kind of like an instructor, right? Where they're going to keep you on task because they'll have the list of steps right in front of them. So if you miss one, they're going to be able to, fill you in on that. All right. So if you remember what we talked about yesterday, right, in the willingness to learn and constructive criticism, it's going to be a beautiful thing, right? They're helping you get through those steps. So, just kind of think about those things. All right. So striving for accuracy in all that you do, right? Doing the best, that you can and making sure that you're doing it right. All right. Knowing your limits, all right, is a really big one here because remember, we have to be able to admit when, we don't necessarily know everything and when we have made a mistake, okay, so that we can go back and correct it and learn what we need to do to make the positive change, okay? Asking for help and guidance is necessary, all right? Please, I want you guys to know that we love when you guys ask for help. Teachers love when you guys ask for help because it shows initiative. It shows that you guys, are hungry and you want to learn, all right? And we would much rather you ask for help in class, all right, while we're doing it, than, later that evening, okay? So please speak up if there's something that, you don't understand or you're just unsure of, speak up, all right? So competence, qualified and capable of performing a task. All right, responsibility. So this is being willing to be held accountable for your actions. All right, so taking responsibility. You guys should know this one already, right? But it also means being reliable and meeting obligations, all right? So knowing what you're supposed to do and doing it, all right? So responsibility, you're being responsible. And this kind of goes really hand in hand with that self-motivation and self-initiative that we talked about yesterday, all right? Doing what you need to do without having to be asked. So that one's pretty simple. But then we have discretion, all right? And discretion is using good judgment in what you say and do. All right. So you have to use good judgment. All right. We can't be, even when you guys start visiting the nursing home and stuff like that, you can't be, it's very tempting to come and, kiki with your friends about what you've seen or, something kind of big that happened that day. But you guys have to use discretion. All right. And because remember, when we're dealing with patients, we're dealing with confidentiality. All right. And having access to patients' records, is a huge deal. All right. And those records have to remain confidential. Okay. So there is a law. All right. It's HIPAA. You'll hear that one a lot. All right. It's the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. All right. And this pretty much just guarantees, it does a lot more, but for this part of the lesson, it guarantees that, a patient's records and healthcare information is confidential. Okay. And private. All right, so this is a huge one, being a team player. All right, so that's why we start practicing in groups and in threes because, it's really important to be a team player. It's important to learn to work well with others. All right, and it may be somebody you don't necessarily jive with or like or get along with, or somebody maybe that you've even had a spat with in the past, right? But now, you have to work with this person. So that takes some learning, right? And self-control, patience, right? And it's very important because quality care really depends on each member of the healthcare team doing their part. All right. So even in a regular health office, right, you have your doctors treating patients, but you have your front desk staff, you have your office managers. My gosh, you have your physician assistants, there's nurses. All right. So not any one member of that team is more important than the other. It really takes every single person stepping up and doing their job to make sure that everything goes smoothly, and to be the most productive and the most successful. All right. So again, teams work faster together. All right. We're better together. All right. That one's easy enough, right? Okay. So professionalism. All right, what I want you guys to grasp here is all of those characteristics and all of those attitudes that we've already talked about are all a part of professionalism. All right, so professionalism is blending many different qualities to meet expected standards. All right, so taking all of those characteristics and attitudes that we've learned and blending them together. All right, so remember, our goal is to incorporate those into our personality. Okay, so it includes, all right, it's not limited to, but it includes proper behavior, okay, displaying good judgment, courtesy, politeness, good communication skills. We're going to do a whole lesson on communication, which is, it seems tedious, but it really is necessary. All right, you're going to see that a lot goes into communicating. That is not just what comes out of our mouth. All right, or the words that we choose. So I kind of like that little unit. So honesty, integrity, responsibility, competence, proper appearance. All right. So that kind of makes sense. But let's think about, professionalism outside of the job. All right. We really have to, be careful about what we're putting out there on social media. All right. That stuff does not go away. All right. And employers nowadays, because social media is so huge, are literally looking at people's social media accounts. Okay, so they are watching, and it could really affect whether you're hired for the job or not. So just be conscious of that. You should be putting out positive, uplifting things. All right, people love that. Oh, this is a big one. All right, so using your cell phone on the job, right? That's a big no-no, right? So you save that for your breaks, your lunches, or dinner breaks. Okay, so really, this is a big problem that a lot of employers are dealing with is cell phone use on the job. So showing some self-control. Okay. Also, you have to have the ability to remain on task. All right. So whatever you're supposed to be doing in that moment, you need to be able to focus and do it. All right. Not get distracted. Okay. Following rules and regulations, and then avoiding those distractions. All right. And the cell phone could be a major one. So that's why I say with your guys' bedtime, start turning that thing off. You need to set up times where you are not open to the public and accessible. All right. So yeah. Okay. So again, remember how I said some of these characteristics might be natural in us and some are not, right? Some of these we probably really struggle with. And that's okay, completely normal, but we have to be willing to practice and learn them. Okay. Some will take more time and effort to develop. Like I told you guys, my patience, right? Like I've been working on this for a very long time and I still am not where I want to be when it comes to patience. All right. But I am getting there and I know that it's something that I need to work on. All right. But I'm always striving to improve. All right. And that's really what is the most important. If you set up a mindset that you are, ready, willing to learn and constantly working to be better, then you're on the right path. All right. Because remember, our overall goal here, guys, is quality patient care. All right. The patient comes first. Whether you're having a bad day, good day, you're tired that day, right? We have to make sure that the patient comes first, all right? And doing all these things and learning all these things is really going to help you become an awesome asset and will really help you, when it comes to your job interviews and landing the job. So, employees are going to want you because it's very, very rare nowadays, unfortunately, that people, practice professionalism. All right. So that is it.